Now, from the Prodigy Bowlers Tour newsroom, with reports from across the universe, around the world, throughout the nation, and up your alley, this is Prodigy Striking News.
A lot of news to get to today. Some of it happened just after this episode of Prodigy was recorded. Some of it happened while this episode of Prodigy was in post-production. We start in Orlando, Florida, at the Storm Youth Championship, where a collection of Prodigy kids from Kansas City and a collection of Prodigy kids from Atlanta met for the first time, exchanging Prodigy tales and probably making fun of the old guy who puts it all together. Pictured here from left to right are Caden White, Anthony Dokalis, PJ Dokalis, the reigning Prodigy TOC champion, all three of them from the Kansas City incarnation of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And to the right, Aiden Reynolds and Hunter Moffitt. Aiden appeared on the show a few times in Georgia, and I know Hunter Moffitt is familiar to all our longtime Prodigy viewers. There were also a couple of other Prodigy Atlanta kids there at the SYC, but didn't get in the picture, Faith Roper and Alana Harding. So how did they all fare at the SYC? Well, it was a mixed bag. Of the 5 boys pictured in the group shot, PJ Dokalis had the best showing, finishing 25th among the U18 boys. Finishing right on his tail at 26th, just 9 pins back, was Caden White. Hunter Moffitt made a credible showing, finishing 39th. Aiden Reynolds was 52nd. And in the U15 boys division, Anthony Dokalis finished 32nd. The 2 girls I mentioned, Faith Roper finished 25th. Hard to believe she's now in the U18 girls division. And in the U15 girls division, Alana Harding finished 18th. So congratulations to these Prodigy kids for putting themselves out there. And as far as I'm concerned, it was worth it just to get this group photo with the Prodigy KC and the Prodigy Atlanta kids all together. It almost brought a tear to my eye. In other news here in the Kansas City area, the weekend of March 23rd and 24th, several Prodigy kids you know had some awesome finishes at the HOA, that's the Heart of America Junior Classic, which stopped at Crown Lanes, where we'll be for the April KCO. In the Classic Division, that's their equivalent of Division 2, Dylan Pollard, the Dill Pickle, he finished in first place. And in the Masters Division, their equivalent of Division 1, the winner was Joseph Enderle. Now, you don't know him, he hasn't been on Prodigy yet, but he defeated someone you have seen, Tashawn Clark, in the final match. In the previous match, Tashawn eliminated another KCO regular that you've seen on Prodigy, Nick Robbins, who finished 3rd. Also this weekend in the greater Kansas City area, in Olathe, Kansas, it was the Youth Scratch Masters Tour, which operates out of Oklahoma and was making their first ever stop at Olathe Lanes East. On Saturday, they held their 2-man Baker competition, and 2 KCO regulars, Tashawn Clark and Caden Ball, who you'll meet on episode 165 in a couple of weeks, they paired up to shoot a 300 game. Here's Caden with the 9th strike. And here's Tashawn with the 12th ball. So congratulations to them on their Baker 300. But the winners in the Baker competition on Saturday, that was the team of PJ Dokalis and Davis Best, both previous winners on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Then in the singles competition on Sunday, Connor John was a runner-up in the Open Boys division, and Ellie Blyenberg was the runner-up in the U12 Mixed division. Then this past weekend, March 23rd and 24th, in the Detroit area, it was the NAIA National Finals. Former Prodigy star Bryant Griffith got mentioned for the All-America 3rd team. But the biggest congrats of all goes to the SCAD Bees of the Savannah College of Art and Design for earning the title of 2024 NAIA Men's Bowling National Champion Team. And I especially want to single out and congratulate the member of their team and Prodigy alum, Tyrell Ingalls. He was named the tournament's MVP. Prodigy bowlers are on a march toward greatness wherever they bowl. And I want to encourage all the viewers in Prodigy land who are watching this video to chime in with a congratulatory remark in the comments section below on this video. But right now, we send you to Belton, Missouri for the Kansas City Open's 2024 March Adult Youth Doubles Tournament, where the scores have been off the chain. Wait until you hear what happened. You better strap in. From America's heartland, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, celebrating junior bowling and elevating junior bowlers. Today, episode 164, the 2024 Kansas City Open March Adult Youth Doubles Tournament. 4 teams have qualified for the TV finals, but only one team can be crowned champions in Division III today. Here are our finalists. Bowling in the 4th position is Colby Lovegren, back today as the adult partner of his younger sister, Avery. They'll face the 3rd-ranked team, Ryan Sharp and his son, Nicholas Sharp of Shawnee, Kansas. The winner of that opening match will face the 2 seeds, Colin Pacheco and his dad, David. And the winner of that match will bowl for the championship against our tournament leaders, Leah Wilson and Tyler Gromlovitz. In qualifying, Tyler shot .857 to set the house record today. One of these 4 doubles teams will claim the Division III crown at the 2024 KCO Adult Youth Doubles Tournament and will sign the coveted trophy pin on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. We welcome you to Belton, Missouri, about a 25-minute drive out Interstate 49 south and east of Kansas City, Missouri, to Aaron's Family Fun Center, which I think you'd agree is a lovely modern bowling center with all the amenities any bowling family could ever want to experience. We're here for the 2nd KCO tournament in the month of March and the 2nd of 2 adult youth doubles tournaments on the KCO season calendar. In the adult youth KCO events, each player bowls 4 games of qualifying. In Divisions 2 through 5, the youth player gets handicap in the amount of 90% of the difference between their entering average and the top of their division. Now, in the case of Division 3, the top of the division is 179. And the adult member of the team receives handicap in the amount of 90% of the difference between their entering average and 220. Our tournament leaders, Leah Wilson and her adult partner, Tyler Gromlovitz, had quite a ride in qualifying. Leah, a 176 average player, held steady, bowling right about her average for all 4 games. But she could only marvel at what went down before her. Her partner, Tyler Gromlovitz, bowled 279, 300, 278 in his first 3 games of qualifying for an Aaron's house record .857 series. And then he backed that up with a 267 in his 4th game for a breathtaking 1124 for 4 games. That's a 4-game average of 281. So it's no wonder they're sitting in the lead. Here's how the rest of the Division III field fared in qualifying. Taylor Schick and her partner finished as the alternates. Olivia and Matthew Deere, 6th. Joshua Schonifer and his mom Charlene finished 7th. And in 12th place, it was good to see Hannah Hill back in action. You will recall 2 episodes back on Prodigy. We told you of how Hannah and her sister Haley and their parents lost their home in a house fire recently. And they were all here at the KCO today, soaking up the love from everyone who is glad to see that they're okay and still with us. And as you go down the list, you'll see some other names you may recognize from their previous appearances on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, including all the way down in 22nd place. That's the same Darren Hall who was the adult partner on last year's winning team in Division 5 here on Prodigy. But his youth partner, Dallas Hart, was nowhere to be found in this year's field. So hopefully we'll see him again somewhere down the road. But with that out of the way, we'll take one more look at the seedings for our top 4 teams in the stepladder finals and get this party started. Now, as you may recall from our last adult youth doubles tournament, the teams bowl league style, with both members of a team starting on the same lane and then switching lanes each frame. Here in our opening match, it's the number 4 team of Colby Lovegren, who's playing the role of the adult today, partnering with his sister Avery Lovegren, who's making her first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. They'll face the number 3 qualifiers, Ryan Sharp and his son Nicholas Sharp. The Sharps are also appearing on Prodigy for the first time today. In fact, some of the adults on the show today may be learning of Prodigy Bowlers Tour for the first time today. So smile, you're on candid camera. And don't let it intimidate you that about 15 or 20,000 people may be watching you bowl in the first few weeks the show is up on YouTube for the whole world to see. Ha! It is funny to talk to people who are bowling on Prodigy Bowlers Tour for the first time, and then they find out that the show has viewers in all 50 states across America and even has a worldwide audience in more countries than you might imagine. So the best advice I can give is to just block out the fact that there's a camera pointed at you and just bowl your game. It's Ryan Sharp who's going to throw the first shot on Prodigy today. He's up on the right lane, ready to lead off. And he throws a good one, solid in the pocket, but that 6-pin flies around the 10. So he begins with a solid 10. And now Colby Lovegren. It's good to see Colby back. High hit, breaks up the split. And Colby leaves just the 6. Colby aged out of youth bowling over last summer, and now he's at college, going to K-State in Manhattan, Kansas. Uh-oh. Ryan Sharp hooks by the 10-pin. So an open frame, and you see that we've added his 53 pins of handicap into his score right there in the first frame. Colby covers the spare. He's not getting any handicap. And they are summoning help from bowling center personnel, because apparently when Ryan Sharp threw that spare shot, one of the finger inserts on his ball popped out and is in the gutter down lane. And I guess Brent Whitesell, the man in the green shirt, one of the KCO board members, doesn't feel comfortable walking down past the foul line, so he's called on somebody from Aaron's Family Fun Center to come down and go fetch the equipment that came detached from the bowling ball. I've had that happen a time or two. That's a little unsettling. Hope he's got some super glue in his bag. And there it is, right down there in the gutter. All right. We can resume normal activities now. Avery Lovegren up on the left lane. Now that one hooks high at the end, and she's left a difficult cluster, the 3, 6, 9, 10. 9-pin, a little off spot. as we get our first look at Nicholas Sharp up on the right lane. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if that's allowed, but I guarantee you he's going to take it. That's a strike worth taking a second look at, I would think. Watch this. Two-hander gives it the big flip with his hands at release. Comes in light, nearly has the 2-7-10, but one at a time they all go down, and that's a strike to start. Colby once again through the nose and leaves the 3-6-10. Avery had that plus the 9-pin and couldn't convert it on the left lane, so she has an open, and you see we've added her 3 pins of handicap to the 9 pins she got in the first frame. So all the handicap is accounted for in this match. Ryan Sharp finds the half pocket, doesn't quite kick out the 10 pin, so he's going to get to shoot at the 10 once again. Colby covers the 3-6-10, so there's another mark for him. Ryan Sharp, 42 years old, started bowling at the age of 41, so he's only been at it a year or so. But he bowls without his thumb in the ball. A one-hander, but he palms it. There's a solid pocket hit by Avery Lovegren. But the 6-pin flies around the 10, so she'll shoot at the 10. Well, a smoother release by Nicholas Sharp that time, but he didn't get the axis rotation, so the ball just kind of hung out to the right. And Avery covers the 10-pin as Nicholas contemplates this spare that he has left on the left lane, the 1-2. Pretty simple spare, just move your feet a couple of boards to the right of your strike position and throw it over your strike target. Well, he went a little more direct and didn't allow for the hook that his ball would produce, and that's an open frame. Nicholas's average bumping up against the upper boundary of the Division III group, so he's not getting any handicap. Although I'd say his dad is probably providing the team enough handicap for the two of them with 53 pins. All right, Colby Lovegren. He won twice on Prodigy last season and was in the race for PBAA Player of the Year. That's Prodigy Bowlers across America. And competed at the Prodigy Tournament of Champions. Well, they are resetting the spare that Ryan Sharp left on the right lane. I think the pin setter is dropping one of the pins when it is left as part of a cluster. Oh my goodness, how did that messenger miss the 10 pin? I think he's surprised that that didn't go. That was a good ball. All right, the 2-4-5-8. And Ryan converts it. That is a tricky spare, easy to miss. A whole bunch of different ways you can miss that, but he gets it. All right, Colby, cross lane at the 10. Oh! And he throws that plastic ball just a little too wide, and it obviously does not hook. So there's an open frame. And now all four of our players have at least one open frame. And Nicholas Sharp up on the right lane. Through the nose. And another 3-6-10 combination. And speaking of the 3-6-10 combination, there's Avery with one of her own. I give these kids, and the adults in this case, a form to fill out, a little player profile form. This gets a little background information. One of the questions I ask is, your best moment in bowling. Avery mentioned her first strike with her grandma. I love that answer. And both of our youth bowlers clipped the 3 right off the 3-6-10. We'll have no more of that. All right. Ryan Sharp, who tells us Kyle Troop is his favorite pro bowler. Well, he gets a messenger to take out the 10. He had the 7-10 peeking at him for just an instant, but he swishes out the 7 and gets the messenger to obliterate the 10. So he sits down and says, "Thank you very much." Oh, man. Talk about what could have been a really bad break. Nearly a light 8-10. Colby with just the 10 pin, and Ryan comes in light and leaves the 2-5-8. So we're getting a variety of spares here, but not a lot of strikes so far. There's a conversion of the 10 pin. Colby missed one in the third frame, and he makes doubly sure of covering it this time. The Sharps with a 52 pin lead. There's a good spare of a tough combination by Nicholas. That number at the bottom of your screen, the plus 52, indicates how much the lead is, and the arrow is pointing to the side of the score sheet to let you know who leads. It's pointed to the right. That's the side with Ryan and Nicholas's scores, so they're the ones with the 52 pin lead. Avery once again high on the head pin, leaves the 6-10. She ought to make this. She plays it down the right side of the lane. I'd rather see her go cross lane at those right corner spares, but she covers it, and that's the main thing. Colby will try to start a little string of strikes. He's still looking for his first X on the score sheet. And he's going to have to wait a little longer. The Greek Church, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. It can be made, but you won't see it made very often. Oh! There's a stone 8 for Ryan Sharp, trying to build on that strike he put up in the fourth. And the pin setter dropped the 8 pin, so they'll have to reset it. Well, that was not his best effort. You never like to have an open frame, even when you know it's likely that you will, but don't be throwing away pins. You never know when they might come in handy at the end. 72 pin deficit now for Colby and Avery. But you never know. In a doubles event, pins can be made up quicker. Unfortunately, they can also be lost quicker. All right, Ryan will go for the single pin spare on the right lane. Oh, I think he thought that he had missed that. He threw that thing so far to the right. And Avery gets the ball a little too wide, and it gets into the dry part of the lane early. And so it started hooking early and hooked past the head pin. So she's left herself a tricky little spare, the 1-3-9, and the 1 pin is somehow miraculously vanished from the scene. We've got pin setters that are dropping pins left and right. They'll have to reset it. And there it is, the 1-3-9. Colby giving her a little coaching tip on how to make this. You don't really want to put the ball right in the 1-3 pocket, because if you do, the ball may hook past the 9. You've kind of got to hit the light pocket, hit that 3 a little more squarely and just nick the 1 pin. Oh my goodness gracious. What a way to get 4. That's how you make the 1-3-9 right there. But now Nicholas has quite a spare to shoot here. This can be made. It's been made once on Prodigy by Gilbert Kang several years ago. You got to play it like you're shooting the 3-4 and hope that the ball will get the 6, 9, 10. Well, he had the right idea, just got too much of the 3 pin. So that's an open frame. Now his dad, Ryan, up on the left lane, will try to put another strike up on the board. And a little too much hook again. These players living on the nose in this match. A little too much. There's a solid strike for Colby Lovegren. I would have expected Colby might have thrown one sooner in this match. We'll take another look at it. Here's a fun fact. When Prodigy Bowlers Tour first moved to the Kansas City area, the player who threw the very first shot on Prodigy Bowlers Tour was Colby Lovegren. That was at the 2022 KCO Invitational, won by Mike Anderson II. And another 3-pin chopped off the 3-6-10. I said no more of that. 10-pin for Avery. The players on our left, by the way, you see Kaylin Melvin over there. That's the Division 4 group. The players to our right, Division 5. We'll fill you in on how their stepladders played out at the end of the show. There's a spare by Avery. Well, because of this format and the continuous action of league-style play, there's always somebody throwing a shot. We won't be giving you all the replays that you're used to seeing, but we'll try to do a few, let you see some of the more interesting shots again. Once again, cutting sharply on the back end. Colby having a hard time staying off the nose. There's the 3-6-10 once again. Boy, Ryan sent that one way out into the weeds, but it came back strong. And that's the kind of strike he's looking for. And too wide with his spare attempt. Well, he didn't chop the 3-pin off the 3-6-10. Instead, he left the 3-pin and got the 6 and 10. Well, somewhere in the middle, there's a happy medium that you're looking for. Better yet, don't leave that spare again. That's what they're looking for. Nicholas with the first double of the match. Oh, I didn't think that one was going to get back, but it did. And Avery in the pocket just left the 10 pin. She doesn't have the rev rate of her older brother, so she's not going to carry as many of those half pocket hits. But I'll tell you what, she's a good spare shooter. She covers that 10 pin once again. There's a strike for Colby. That's 2 strikes in a row in the right lane. Now Ryan Sharp. Hard to believe he's only been bowling a little over a year. Just a pinch high. He's trying to get zeroed in. Leaves the 9. And you see what that lower rev rate will do. Avery hits the half pocket and the ball deflects around the 5 pin, and now she's got a little split here, the 5-7. Ryan covers a simple spare. And how about that? Avery with a conversion of the 5-7 split, and that's definitely worth another look. She moves her feet about 3 boards to the left of her strike position, throws her strike ball over her strike target, and boom! She covers the split. And now Nicholas up on the left lane, his team leading by 68 pins, getting late in the match. He can put some serious distance between his team and theirs here. But instead, it cuts through and leaves the 4-9 when he could have had a turkey. And the pin setter has dropped the 4 pin. How many times are we going to have this happen? Ooh. Ryan got that one out wide like he did back in the 7th frame when he got the strike, but this time, ringing 10. Nicholas will go for the 4-9, try to put the ball on the left side of the 4 pin, slide it over into the 9. You just got to graze it. Too much 4 pin, so it's an open. That'll tighten the match slightly. The lead now 53, but with just 2 frames to go, Colby and Avery need to string some strikes here at the end. Ryan with his spare in the 9th. Colby with a strike working can cut the lead to 43 if he can catch a double here in the 9th and set himself up for a run at some strikes in the 10th. There you go. That's what he's looking for. And then some. That's a good shot by Nicholas Sharp, answering Colby's strike in the 9th with one of his own. And now let's see if Avery can contribute a string of strikes here. Boy, she sent that one wide. Well, it got back to get a piece of the head pin, but Leaves the 2. Could have been worse. Could have been a 210 or something. So she'll make this, I'm sure. But now they're running out of frames. Colby's just about got to strike out for them to have much of any chance here. Got a double working. Got to take advantage of it. Oh, man. And he's thinking, what do I have to do? All right, there's a spare for Avery. The best Colby can do is 162. That's certainly not the game he was hoping to bowl. He covers the 10. Now Ryan Sharp working on a spare. Got to figure Colby and Avery, you never like to root against your opponent, but they kind of need to see Ryan and Nicholas run into a little problem here in the 10th frame. But that's not going to be a problem for Ryan and Nicholas. And that strike is a problem for Colby and Avery. Ryan now with a possible 232 when you count his 53 pin handicap. It's a lot of pins to be spotting somebody. And Colby through the nose on his fill ball with an 8 count. That's a 160. And I would not have predicted he would come out and shoot a 160. But maybe a little rust. He's not bowling as much in college as he was when he was here in Kansas City going to high school and bowling these tournaments all the time. So that's an 8 count, and that's enough to secure the win for the Sharps. They are headed to match 2. And another 10 pin for Avery. With a cover here, she'll be in the 160s as well. She'll probably beat her brother. I'm sure he'll hear about that. Well, it's a conversion. That's a 222 for Ryan Sharp. And now Avery will just have the fill ball left in her game as Nick gets up working on a strike. He can still shoot 174 with a turkey in the 10th. But instead he hangs a 10. So he'll need to cover this to be in the 150s. There's the kind of ball that Avery was trying to throw the whole game. But her one and only strike comes on her fill ball in the 10th. That's not what she had in mind either. So the Lovegrens are going to go away disappointed, but boy, they were giving up a lot of handicap pins to Ryan. But he is a 160-ish average player, I believe. I don't have his actual entering average available, but with a 53 pin handicap, he's got to be down on the 160s. Nicholas finishes with a strike for a 154, but it's enough. The Sharps, Ryan and Nicholas, are moving on. to match 2, where they will face our number 2 seeds, David Pacheco and Colin Pacheco, next. Well, Avery Lovegren bowled within a few pins of her average, but her brother, Colby, definitely showed some signs of rust, as his 160 was proof positive that he hasn't been bowling a lot lately. But Colby and Avery did make the stepladder finals, and a fourth-place finish is certainly not nothing. We're liable to see Avery again in future KCOs. Colby, however, will have to wait till next season for the next adult youth doubles tournament. But this time it was the Sharps who came out on top in the opening match. Ryan Sharp stepped up with a 169 scratch, 222 net to really help his son Ryan and their team. So it's Nicholas Sharp and his dad Ryan who are advancing to match 2 and will now face the 2 seeds, David Pacheco and his son Colin. David just celebrated his 50th birthday 5 days prior to the taping of this episode of Prodigy. And David Pacheco, certainly an example of resiliency. He considers his best moment in bowling when he shot a 300 in the Greater Tulsa Open a year after undergoing open heart surgery. Well, I would say that is some kind of accomplishment there. But it's going to be Ryan Sharp who throws the first ball here in match 2. And he rips the rack. Gets them all to go. Now we get our first look at this young 50-year-old. And he rips the rack. So we got some strike power in this group. Okay, Nicholas Sharp. He should have some power too. He says he's a bodybuilder. Look at that. I thought he sent that one out of bounds, but it comes back and snaps out the 10. Uh-oh. Colin Pacheco wide with his opening toss and leaves the washout. The 1-2-10. This apparently is Colin's first KCO of the season. He bowls league with us over at Olathe Lanes East, where I coach. And he usually flies kind of under the radar. But watch out for those types. They might just sneak up on you. Well, once again, the bowlers to our left on lanes 5 and 6, that's Division 4. The bowlers to our right on lanes 9 and 10, Division 5. And we'll summarize how their stepladder finals play out at the end of the show. Oh, a crossover. David Pacheco with a second strike. And he'll take it. You'll notice Colin Pacheco with his open in the first frame. We add those 9 pins to his 15 pins of handicap. That's how we arrive at 24 in the first frame on Colin's score sheet. We'll add the handicap in the first frame of each player who gets handicap. And look at that. Colin comes right back with a pretty straight ball, but then it hooks just enough at the end to get a little action, get the 6 pin to pop out the 10. Watch this. He comes pretty much straight up the ball, but it'll have just a little hook at the end. And that 6 pin gets the 10 as it goes around. Beautiful. And again, that plus 33 at the bottom of the screen is how much the team leads, and the left pointing arrow indicates the team on the left side of the score sheet. They're the ones who lead by 33. A little high hit by Ryan Sharp, but he trips out the 4-9. Getting all the breaks now. Ryan says his best moment in bowling is bowling with his son. Well, the family that bowls together. Who knows? They might win together. They've got one match under their belt. And Nicholas says, I will show you how to strike. And they're perfect through 2 frames. How about a ripper? Man, that ball was really digging in when it went through the pins. Sends that 5-pin over into the 7. It had no chance. And there's a powerful strike for David Pacheco. So both of our adults in the match, perfect through 3 frames. Here's that strike by David again. Boy, he gets those fingers way under the ball as he rips through it with his hand. That is well done. Oh my, a runaway train. And look at Colin Pacheco. I'll tell you what, these last 3 or 4 shows of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, we've shown you some players who really prove the old saying, straighter is greater. Look at this. He is just up about the 10th or 12th board and maybe 3 boards of hook, if even. And down they go. All right, Nicholas. Left the 1-3. He knocked down all the pins except the 2 he was trying to hit with the ball. And he gets the spare on the Brooklyn side. It's not how, it's how many. And their lead is 41 through 3 frames. And the adults are putting on a little clinic here in match 2. Well, I tell you what, that would have knocked down tree trunks. That was solid in the hole. As was that. Goodness gracious. Well, now David Pacheco with a 6-pin handicap. They're handicapped off of 220, 90% of the difference between their average and 220. I can't reverse engineer that and tell you what his average is, but it's got to be up over 210. So he can bowl. Just a pinch too high, leaves the 9. And another straight ball. Gets him to mix, and Colin now has a turkey. Oh, these lanes have suddenly heated up. Well, Nicholas was concerned about that one, but he needn't be. He covers the spare easily. And now Ryan Sharp going for a 5-bagger. And another ripper. Wow. That 5-pin just obliterated the 7. David Pacheco. Man, those pins just explode. How about this? 5 frames, 5 strikes for each of our adults in this match so far. Boy, you hit them there, and they are going down. All right, Nick. Well, that one crosses over, and he was lucky to leave just 3. And another light shaker for Colin Pacheco. And he extends his string of strikes to 4. And through 5 frames, they only have 1 frame that wasn't a strike. A well-executed spare attempt by Nicholas Sharp of the 6-9-10. That yields a spare. And so the lead for the Sharps is now down to 17 pins. Oh my goodness. He must be living right. It looked like he'd pulled it off his hand, and he did. It went right through the nose and collapsed them all. And David Pacheco gets that ball out to the dry boards on the right side of the lane a little too quickly that time, so it read the lane early, read the friction early, and hooked to the Brooklyn side where he leaves the 5-9. I heard someone recently refer to this as the back pocket because it sits directly behind the 1-3 pocket. In any case, he makes it. So we still have one player with a possible 300. Although actually in his case, he could shoot 353 if he went all the way. We've never had anybody do anything like that. Another 6-9-10. Boy, that ball was way out to the edge and came charging back. And there's one right in the pocket for Colin Pacheco, and now he's got a 5-bagger. And the lead is down to 16 again. There's a good cover of what can be a troublesome spare, but Nicholas Sharp makes it in 2 straight frames. You don't like leaving it in 2 straight frames, but if you're going to leave it, you might as well make it. That's a 7-bagger to start the match. Ryan Sharp's all-time high game is 268. David Pacheco with a ringing 10. Boy, he threw that one good. Not rewarded. You see over to our left, that's Luke Gramling bowling with his aunt. You just saw her strike a moment ago, Nicole Orlando. They won the adult youth doubles tournament in Division 4 about a year and 3 months ago in December of 2022 at Olathe Lanes East. And they are the top seeds in that division today. There's another strike from Nicholas Sharp. Oh, how did he do that? Well, Colin was holding his head like he couldn't believe that didn't strike, and he turned around and didn't see the pin fall forward. But that 6-pin flew around the 10 and got it from behind. Wow. As I always say, never turn your back on them until old Iron Claws gets them. But now that's 6 in a row for Colin Pacheco, and the lead is 17. But you know what? It seems like every time Colin Pacheco throws another strike to cut into the Sharps' lead, Ryan Sharp gets up and throws another strike of his own. He's perfect through 8. And there's a crossover for David Pacheco, but a 9 count and an easy spare. So they're still in it. But now will Nicholas Sharp get up and start stringing a few strikes of his own? That 10 pin just refused to go. Something rolled up against it, but it didn't knock it over. David with a spare. I wouldn't expect him to miss a 9 pin. Now Nicholas for the 10. He's done really well with his spares. Oh, man. Colin Pacheco, a little high with that one, but still almost got maybe the break of the day, but not quite. Something shot across the lane, knocked down the 4, but it didn't fall into the 7, so he'll have a single pin spare, and his string of strikes is broken. Get up. All right. It's a spare. 29 pins separating these two teams with just 2 frames left. And David Pacheco rips them apart. And boy, would he love 3 more of those in the 10th. Now Ryan working on the front 8. Oh! It looked like he might have pulled it just a hair. So it was a question of would it set in the oil, and it almost did, but it just drifted a little high. Cuts through, and watch the ball tear through the pins. It'll take the 5 right off the 9. And that's how you leave a stone 9. But again, an easy spare, one he certainly cannot afford to miss here. And he covers it. Oh, no. Oh, no. Colin with the Greek church. The 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. 2 schools of thought on this. Most times players will go for the 3 on the right. I contend that if you've got to make it to have a chance to win a match, you should go for the 2 on the left. I think it's a little easier to make it that way. Nicholas Sharp, that ball rolled out on him. Notice how it started to hook and then it just flattened out at the end. That's why it didn't carry the 7 pin. Collins going at the 3 on the right. Oh, and he gives it a great run. Oh my goodness, that was close. But an open frame in the 9th, that grows the Sharps' lead to 43. As Nicholas will finish out the 9th frame here. And he covers the spare. So the Sharps will take that 43-pin lead into the 10th. Neither one of them working on a strike, however. David Pacheco has a strike working, but it's still going to be a heavy lift for the Pachecos to come all the way back from 43 pins down in just 1 frame. I've seen crazier things happen in this sport, but it's going to take a heroic performance and a little bit of a mess up by the Sharps. Oh, he almost had the 3-6-10. That could have been the path to a bit of a mess up. But Ryan Sharp has already shot 300 this game. He's going to go beyond that. David Pacheco doesn't get the double. And now it's going to be tough for them. Ryan covers the 3-6. And David Pacheco covers the 10. But the opportunities for the Pachecos to overtake the Sharps now are pretty remote. Well, there's a strike on his fill ball for a 320. Honestly, I never thought we'd have anybody beat the 300 on Prodigy Bowlers Tour that we had bowled by Logan Mathis. But there it is, 320. That's, of course, a handicap net total with 53 pins a handicap. And the Sharps have this one put away. There's a strike for Colin Pacheco. Boy, I tell you what, he did his part. Watch this, just straight up 10. Hooks a little bit at the end, but not a lot. You don't have to cover too many boards to be successful in this sport. Boy, he pulled that one. So he's going to end up in the 230s with his 15 pins a handicap. And now Nicholas Sharp going for his spare. And he converts the 2-8. And a conversion of the 6-10 by Colin Pacheco for a 237. I'd say the Pachecos did everything they could have been asked to do. The only thing they didn't do is win. But when somebody shoots 320 at you, that's kind of hard to beat. There's a strike at the end for a 198 for Nicholas Sharp. And he and his dad Ryan have successfully slayed the Dragon for 2 matches. And now Ryan and Nicholas Sharp have but one more mountain to climb. But it's a formidable one. Tyler Gromlovitz and his partner Leah Wilson have been tearing up the lanes all day. Gotta hand it to Colin Pacheco and his dad David. They put up a heck of a fight against Ryan and Nicholas Sharp. At several points in their match, the Pachecos climbed back within a couple of marks of the lead. But each time they did, it seemed like Ryan Sharp just threw another strike to extend the Sharps' lead once again. In fact, all Ryan did was throw strikes until the 9th frame. His 267 scratch score is not the highest game we've ever seen bowled on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. But you add his 53 pins of handicap to his 267 scratch score, and his 320 net total does eclipse the 300 games we've seen bowled on Prodigy through the years. Although we're still waiting for the first natural 300 on Prodigy since we moved the show to Kansas City. But I'll tell you what, that could come in this next half hour, as Ryan and Nicholas Sharp now find themselves in the championship match against Tyler Gromlovitz, who averaged 281 in qualifying today, and his young partner Leah Wilson. She's a 176 average and certainly is capable of stringing strikes. And she comes from a bowling family. Her little brother Adam has been on Prodigy a few times, and her dad Russ is a 240 average himself and has given us a glimpse of what he can do with a bowling ball in his hands. I expect there'll be pins flying all over the place in this match. Now here's a fun fact for you longtime Prodigy viewers. Tyler Gromlovitz was Charles Bostic's roommate at Weber University. Charlie, as you recall, was the winner of the first coveted trophy pin on Prodigy Bowlers Tour way back in 2017, and one of the show's biggest stars. And Tyler put on his player information sheet that his favorite pro bowler was Charles Bostic, which kind of gave it away. Yep, that's the kind of bowler that I would expect Charlie to bowl with in college. That is just a devastatingly powerful ball. Doesn't really look like he does that much to it, but man, does it make the pins fly. Well, Ryan comes in just a pinch high. Here's Leah Wilson. Any questions? This girl is 13 years old. You've seen her younger brother Adam on the show a few times. A little two-hander. But look at this girl bowl. Man. All right, there's a spare for Ryan. Leah only gets 2 pins of handicap. Her average bumps up against the top end of Division III. So she's not getting much in the way of handicap. And, of course, Ryan's still getting those 53 pins. So Tyler and Leah are going to have to bowl their hearts out to catch them. Especially if Ryan keeps on this pace he's been on. And Nicholas through the nose and leaves a tricky one, the 3, 6, 9, 10. Sometimes it's hard to back up a big game with another big game. Ryan just shot 267 scratch for that 320 net total with his handicap added in. And that 267 scratch, only 1 pin shy of his lifetime high game. So he's having a day. But can he back it up with another game like that? And the 3, 6, 9, 10 proves a little too formidable for Nicholas. So there's an open frame to start. And now Tyler Gromlovitz up on the left lane. Tyler won the $25,000 first prize at the TAT. That's the True Amateur Tour. And the player he beat, yeah, it was his roommate, Charles Bostic, former Prodigy star and the winner of the first coveted trophy pin. There's a spare for Ryan. And now Leah Wilson once again. She and Tyler won the adult youth doubles tournament in Olathe back in December. So they're trying to sweep the doubles tournaments this season. Well, another solid ball in the second frame, but she does not get rewarded for it. Leaves the 9. Oh, my goodness. Well, if you can do it, I can do it. Both of our youth players with apparently good shots, both leaving the stone 9. Leah is 13 years old. Nicholas is 16. And Leah covers her 9 pin. Nicholas takes the scenic route and covers his spare as well. Ryan says it was his stepfather that got him started bowling. Oh, I thought that might have been a little too high, but he trips the 4. And he gets it to fall in slow motion. All right, Tyler up on the right lane. Three frames, three strikes. Go back about a year and a half. Here's the Weber University bowling team. Oh, look, there's Charles Bostic in the big afro. Head coach Del Warren in the brown suit to the right. And oh, look, in the dark suit, that's Tyler Gromlovitz, who was also on the team. Small world, ain't it? Oh, my goodness. Well, you don't see that every day. Somebody leave the one pin. Leah a little thin with that hit. Sent it a little wide, didn't quite get back. And she leaves the 2, 4, 5. And once again, we see the pin setter dropping a pin. Nicholas Sharp will have the one pin reset for what has to be considered one of the easiest spares there is. Just throw your strike ball. And there you go. 2, 4, 5, a little more complicated, but Leah makes it look easy. Just a delightful young girl and a fierce competitor, as is her partner here, Tyler Gromlovitz, working on a turkey. Oh my goodness, that thing looked like he was pulling it back on a string like a yo-yo. Watch this. Throws it over about 22 at the arrows, out to about 5, and it just makes a sharp left turn. And down go all 10 pins. Well, Ryan not showing the magic that he had in match 2. Boy, Leah right back on it. A strike on the left lane. Looked like she was crowding the head pin just a touch. But that's 10 back. Over 12 at the arrows, out to about 6. Straight back. There's a spare for Ryan. Boy, he has been on point with his spares today. He missed that 10 pin in his very first frame of the day, in the stepladder anyway, and I don't think he's missed one since. And he hasn't left many. Now Nicholas still looking for his first strike of this match. And he sure picked a good time to get his first one, because Tyler and Leah have shaved the Sharps' lead down to just 11 pins. There you go. That's more like what we saw out of Ryan in match 2. He may need a few more of those, especially if Tyler continues on this torrid pace that he's been on really all day. There's another one. All this guy does is strike, it seems. And the Sharps' lead has been cut to just 1 pin. This is the first time they've been challenged all day. Look at this. Tyler Gromlovitz, his fingers are just barely below the equator, but they're right behind the ball. He doesn't go around the ball to hook it. He comes straight up the back of the ball. These modern bowling balls are made to hook. Boy, I tell you what, Nicholas coming alive at just the right time, increases their lead to 11. And Leah with a tricky spare here, the 2-4-8. And it looks like it has swept the 8-pin away. So they'll have to have that reset. We've had some problems with the pin setters today. Watch this. It picks up the 2-4-8. Well, it picks up the 2 and 4. It leaves the 8. And then it sweeps it away. Yep, that's not legal. You got to have them all reset. Tyler doesn't let it bother him at all. That might bother him a little bit. As Leah's ball slides by and only gets the 2, leaving the 4 and 8. So an open frame. And now the Sharps' lead is 15 pins. And look at this, Ryan Sharp suddenly starts stringing them, just as his son does. So their lead is back to 25. All right, Leah, let's get another string going. Tell you what, you know who I see in this kid? She reminds me of what Annalise O'Brien might have looked like when she was 13. I didn't get a chance to see her bowl when she was 13, but I imagine she might have looked something like that. And for those of you new to Prodigy who don't know who Annalise O'Brien is, well, she's a former back-to-back junior gold national champion who bowled with us in Georgia. And now she's knocking on the door to win her first PWBA title. She was the top seed in a couple of regionals. Came up a little short, but it's only a matter of time. So you can be sure that if I'm comparing a youngster to Annalise O'Brien, that is high praise coming from me. This guy right here might be the key to this match. If he can keep striking like he did in the last match, they will be tough to beat. And there's another one. Man, he picked a good day to have one of his best days ever in his short bowling career. All right, Tyler, working on a 6-bagger. Oh! The ringing 10. The right-hander's nemesis. You think you've thrown a beautiful shot, but you're denied. Could have cut the lead to 24. Not to be. Nicholas right back on it. He's going to try to help out his dad here at the end to fend off this charge by Tyler and Leah. No problem with the 10-pin. I wouldn't imagine Tyler Gromlovitz would miss very many single-pin spares. All right, this could be a crucial shot in the match. Leah, working on a strike, can cut the Sharps' lead to 25. Oh, she swishes out the 7, but the 10 stubbornly refuses to go. At least she didn't have the 7-10 here. Now she'll go cross lane at the 10-pin. A little bird tells me that Tyler is her coach. I would have thought that would be her dad, Russ, who also coaches her brother, Adam. I imagine Russ probably gets his 2 cents worth in. Boy, talk about ripping the rack. Tyler makes those pins look like kindling wood. Well, they actually almost are. These are the twister pins, the synthetic pins we've heard so much about in recent years. They will move. Oh, wow. That was quite a break there. That ball was a little high. He was looking at the 4-9, but it went. And there's a light shaker for Leah. And that brings a big smile. I think she's having a blast. Oh! Well, could have been a double, could have increased their lead. But instead he leaves the 9. Here's that strike that Leah just threw. Comes in a little light. The head pin will go to the left wall and get the 4, 5, and 7. There's another solid strike. Boy, Ryan has just absolutely been bowling like a madman today. Nicholas has been right there to help his dad out every step of the way. And now they're back to just about where they started the match. With a 55-pin lead, that's more than they started with. Oh my. Well, it may be about time to send up the white flag. Tyler with the almost unmakeable 2-8-10. Let's see how, once again, the pin setter just didn't pick up the 8-pin. And so it swept it away. This is a lot easier without the 8-pin. But he will have to shoot it with the 8-pin, and not a whole lot you can do with it. So that makes the Sharps lead 67 pins with just a frame and a half left. I think they can just about walk it in from here. Well, there's a strike by Leah, and she finally gets a double. So she cuts the lead to 57. I mean, if the Sharps were to somehow have a colossal collapse at the end, I just don't see that happening. Ringing 10 for Nicholas. He just hasn't had any problems with most of his spares today. He's missed a couple, but he's been pretty solid. All right, Ryan working on a 5-bagger. I wonder if he's ever had a day on the lanes quite like this. There's a 10-pin. Now here's another fun fact about Tyler Gromlowitz. You know that 857 that he shot in qualifying his first 3 games today that set the house record at Aaron's? That's not even his highest 3-game series. He's had an 865 before. But now these last few frames, he seems to have lost his look. And shoot, I think I could beat him now. I am pulling your leg and everyone else's leg who's watching this. Well, Ryan, I think when you get to the 10th frame and you lead by 55, you can afford to throw one in the moat. That's a 279 with his 53 pins of handicap to add to his 320 that he shot in the second game. 53 pins of handicap, huh? Okay. Tyler covers his spare in the 10th. And now Nicholas Sharp will wrap things up. I think he just needs a few pins here and he can close this thing down. Nearly a 7-10, but guess what? That's enough. The Sharps have won the KCO here in Belton. There's a strike to finish on. Tyler, 237. And to think that was his low game for the day by 30 pins. Wow. That's a spare for Nicholas, and now Leah will finish up. Oh, she knew that was wide. You saw her gesturing, come back, come back. It didn't, and now she's got the washout, the 1-2-10. Possible 195 for Nicholas. And that's what he ends up with. Good game. How about it? There you go. Leah, who is also in competitive cheer, softball, and track, so an all-around good athlete. Wants to be a teacher someday, or maybe a pro bowler. Tell you what, if she becomes a pro bowler, ladies, she will teach you some lessons, because this girl will bring it. But today belongs to the Sharps. Ryan and Nicholas have won all three matches to claim the Division III title at the March Adult Youth Doubles Tournament at the KCO. And we're going to sit down with them and get them to sign the coveted trophy pin next. Well, young Leah Wilson showed Prodigy Land what a 13-year-old girl who's well coached can do with a bowling ball in her hands, as she saved her best game of the day for her stepladder match. And her partner, Tyler Gromlovitz, bowled within a few pins of his average, but he needed to be nearly perfect like he was during qualifying to overcome the onslaught of strikes thrown by Ryan Sharp, who bowled off of a 53-pin handicap today, and one can only figure that he must have bowled out of his mind. He and his son Nicholas were darn near unbeatable as they ran the stepladder, winning all three matches, and now they find themselves in the winner's circle. It's time we sit down with our winners and let you hear from them. First time ever on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and Nicholas Sharp has found his way to the winner's circle, along with his dad, Ryan Sharp.
That's right.
How did you do it? Did you carry him or did he carry you?
He kind of carried me. My first game was horrible in qualifying, so after that I kind of just tried to let the ball do the work and not force it.
Did you teach this guy how to bowl?
I mean, all I can do with him is try and teach him to maintain composure and not get too frustrated. And it is what it is. I had a good day.
Every time I looked up, you were throwing strikes. And it's easy to stay composed when you're throwing great shots like that.
That's exactly right. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a good day for me. It was a good day for me.
Well, you both bowled fantastic.
Thank you.
And I'm guessing that you may not even know exactly what this is all about, but Prodigy Bowlers Tour is a YouTube series that's been around since 2016, and we have a little prize called the coveted trophy pin, and when you win on the show, you get to sign it. So, Nicholas, grab a pen in there. Do you have a favorite color? We have them in all different colors.
Save the blue one for me.
Excellent.
Purple.
There's the blue one.
Perfect.
Now, put your name and today's date on the pin.
3/17.
That's right. St. Patty's Day.
That's right. Now I'll make sure to try and print as neatly as possible. If I did my signature, nobody'd know who I was.
That's quite all right. So here's the deal. By signing the pin and winning today, you're now eligible for the season-ending Prodigy Tournament of Champions, which will be held the Sunday after Father's Day at Olathe Lanes East.
Sorry?
I'm sorry, Ryan, you won't be eligible.
That's all right.
But you can bring him.
I will. I will.
And the winner of that event wins the coveted trophy pin. And actually, there's kind of an interesting tradition that's gone on since the beginning of Prodigy, and that is that the winner of the pin always seems to give it away. Kind of a cool little tradition, but in any case, there it is. You're now eligible. I'll be in touch. Make sure you're coming.
Oh, yeah.
And is there any last words you have for the nationwide, worldwide Prodigy audience that will be watching?
What do you got, buddy? Words of wisdom.
Stay behind the foul line.
Yes, that's a big one. Just stay composed, let the ball do the work, don't force it.
That's it.
Anybody can have a good day. It's always anybody's day. Don't quit till it's never over till it's over. You know what I mean?
There you go. Well, congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
As I mentioned during the show, the bowlers to our left on lanes 5 and 6 were the finalists in Division 4. Here's how their stepladder played out. In the opening match, the 4 seeds, Kaylin Melvin and her adult partner, Dennis Melvin Jr., defeated Ethan Rote and his adult partner, Travis Feuer, 355 to 335. Then in match 2, Kaylin got a measure of revenge on the 2 seed, Bella Gonzalez. As you may recall, Kaylin and Bella met in the opening match at the March Point Tournament in Division 4 when Bella won all 4 matches and won the title in Olathe. But today, the roles were reversed as Kaylin and her dad got the best of Bella and her mom, Katie, 437 to 366. But in the championship match, Kaylin and Dennis Melvin got centuried as tournament leaders Luke Gramling and his aunt Nicole Orlando, who won the December KCO Adult Youth Doubles Tournament in 2022, proved to be the winning combination once again, besting their opponents 464 to 364. So congratulations to Luke Gramling and Nicole Orlando for once again prevailing at the KCO Adult Youth Doubles Tournament. And as I mentioned earlier, the bowlers to our right on lanes 9 and 10 were the finalists in Division 5. Here's how their stepladder played out. In the opening match, the number 4 qualifiers, Johnny Futrell and his adult partner, J.J. Futrell, came up a little short against the 3 seeds, Lily Feuer and her adult partner, Megan Deere, 355 to 335. You may recall that Lily and Megan were the top seeds in Division 5 last year when we showcased Division 5 at this event on Prodigy. But in match 2, Lily and Megan came up short in a close match against the 2 seeds, Madison Morgan and her adult partner, Hayden Seibel, 414 to 408. But in the final match, the tournament leaders, Shane Schonifer and his adult partner, Randy Schonifer, proved too tough as they defeated Madison Morgan and Hayden Seibel 452 to 396. You may recall from our recap earlier in the month that Shane Schonifer also took top honors at the KCO March Point Tournament in Olathe. So that's 2 KCOs in a row that Shane has won. He's entered in the April KCO Point Tournament, so he'll be going for a three-peat. So congratulations to Shane Schonifer for winning the Division 5 title with his partner Randy Schonifer. On our next edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, scheduled for public release on April 6th, you'll see the stepladder finals in Division 1 at this same 2024 KCO Adult Youth Doubles Tournament at Aaron's Family Fun Center in Belton, Missouri. There are just 2 more KCO point tournaments left on the schedule this season, followed by the KCO's final event of the season, the KCO Invitational in June. And of course, that's followed by the season-ending Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, scheduled for June 23rd. That's the Sunday after Father's Day. If you want to enter one of the 2 remaining KCO point tournaments left on the calendar, or if you just have questions about the Kansas City Open, visit their website. Go to www.kansascityopen.com. You'll find everything you need to know about the KCO, including their schedule and more. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. If you like what we do with Prodigy Bowlers Tour, smash the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to receive notifications whenever we upload new content. And be sure to share the video with friends and leave a comment down below. Just don't leave a spoiler. If you'd like to support the creative work that goes into producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour, become a Prodigy patron. For just $5 a month, you'll get early access to all our full-length episodes of the show. And for only $10 a month, you'll get early access and you'll get your name in the show's closing credits as an executive producer. You know, like the big shots in Hollywood do. Go to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and follow the prompts to become a Prodigy patron. To keep up with all things Prodigy, become a member of our Facebook group. It's free to join. From any page on Facebook, type into the search bar Prodigy Bowlers Tour and hit enter. That'll take you to a page where you can submit a request to join the group. But remember to answer the 3 screening questions or your request may be declined. So that's a wrap from Aaron's Family Fun Center in Belton, Missouri. Be on the lookout for episode 165, the Division 1 championship round from this same tournament. In the meantime, this is Coach Randy reminding you to stay behind the foul line and keep kicking out the corner pins, not the foul lights or ball returns. And I'll talk to you next time on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Now, go get your bowl on.